Hey everyone, Coach Chloe is here and I am here to share a really raw, truthful story with you. I don't really know why I feel so called to share it, but I'm going to share it with you because I think it's really important to share how I have overcome the moments that have been tough for me and how I am using that to help other people, and how maybe this could maybe inspire you or maybe help you when you are having a tough day or a tough situation. So, gosh, starts a long time ago when Chris, my partner, got injured from rugby. And getting injured from rugby meant that his career ended, and that also meant that his income ended. And I'm really glad that before the injury had completely finished his career that I decided to start doing a little bit of work again. And I was really blessed, I suppose you could say, to have met a new coach at that time who was a French record holder, and through him I met a lot of contacts in a particular area that helped me pick up clients in a town close by, and that I was able to sustain our family household income with that and pick up lots more clients from that. And then once his career had completely ended, papers were signed and everything, what happens is then he goes on like a retirement sort of thing where he receives a certain amount of percentage of his last salary. And the salary that he was actually on was a single person salary. It wasn't really enough to sustain a family. And through that process, I ended up losing every single one of my in-person clients because they were all football player wives and rugby player wives. And for those of you who aren't familiar with those sort of population, they move a lot. And so they had all got contracts to new clubs all in the same time frame, and it was a huge shock for me because it was the last thing I was expecting. And so I had about 5 or so people completely leave all in the same month, and that was every part of the income down to zero. And that was a bit of a, oh my gosh, what the hell am I going to do moment. And one of the best things in that moment was realizing that I was then given the time and the space to create my on-demand and my online business, and to actually focus on what I really wanted to focus on, which was creating online video workouts, and to be able to bring my work anywhere in the world, not just in person, because like I just said, if someone leaves and cancels or whatever, I can still continue to work because it's through here, right? But that's not where the story ends. That was just a little part of it. But that was something that was really eye-opening for me, to realize everything really does happen for a reason, and that I chose to see it in a way that everything was working out for me. So once Chris was on retirement, that only lasts 2 years. So imagine going from doing a sport for 20 plus years of your life and only knowing that, to trying to figure out what you're going to do after all of that ends. And so after all of the 2 years, pretty much as soon as his two-year ends of his retirement, he realizes what he wants to do. So that meant retirement funds stop. I wasn't really working either. So we went from income to lower income to lower income to zero income. And that put us in a really tough situation. So we went from that to not being able to pay our rent. We couldn't pay our bills. We couldn't pay for Ollie's school. We couldn't do a lot of things. And through that process, some days, were tough, where I tried to cover up the fact that I was stressed and tired and emotionally drained and things like that, and trying to be the strong one and not show to Ollie that we were in a bit of a rut. And I'm cooking curry right now, so I hope that it doesn't burn. But I wanted to share this with you. So through that process of trying to stay strong and trying to do the things and figure it all out, and sometimes it just gets really draining. And it's okay to feel like that. But through the process, it just got worse. and always asking for help all the time was getting draining. It was getting really hard to constantly ask. And then it came to the point where Chris was offered a contract, not in writing though. He was offered a contract which we were super excited about because it meant moving to a bigger city, which would be better for me for in-person work. And it was something that we felt really ready for. So Chris was in the talks of organising the contract, and they said that he could start on the 1st of July and that they would organise everything. This is July just gone. And so we decided to give our notice to our house that we were renting. And so despite the fact that we couldn't pay the rent, they were... In France, they actually can't kick you out if it's in wintertime. So we were safe at that time, but we decided to give our notice so we could focus on finding somewhere in Toulouse. But then the contract didn't come. And now in France, you can't rent a house without a work contract. So we couldn't rent a place because we didn't have a work contract. The place that Chris was supposed to be working for kept delaying the contract, and it's now September and there is still no contract. And obviously, yes, there was, so we gave up the house. And then through that process, we couldn't afford to rent an Airbnb either. So for a few weeks, we camped in a campsite. We already had a tent. We love camping, so it was a really great option for us. And we decided to do that. And then after a few weeks, there was still nothing from this contract. And they said, well, maybe this is going to be a thing in 2020, but not this year. And so we were like, well, shit, what are we going to do? And so we asked some friends if we could camp in their garden, in their backyard, and they were really kind to say yes. And we've been really grateful to have such kind-hearted friends during this time, even though a lot of people really don't know our full story. And so we stayed in people's backyards for the last 2 months. We house sat for some people, and some days we have been spending €5 a day on food. It's not much. And it was really cool because I heard from somebody say, you know, if people heard our situation, they would just feel sorry for us and feel like, oh my gosh, you guys are homeless. And then one person said, you're not homeless because your home is here. You might be houseless, but you'll never be without a home because your home is what you create inside. And that was so special when I heard that, because it's so true. And when I had spoken to my coach about everything that was going on, he had said, oh, this is great. You're living African style. You're going to learn so much about yourself. And I'm like, yes, exactly. And that's it. Like, despite how tough this has really been, from not being able to buy things like sanitary items, like girl sanitary items, that was my biggest breaking point, was when I couldn't even do that and I had to ask someone to buy me tampons. And that was really, really hard for me. And also when I was so hungry, there was one point where everyone was over from Chris's side of the family and we're going to a Christmas market, and I was so hungry, I hadn't eaten. I went to the toilet and came back, and the others were eating and no one had offered me food, and Chris wouldn't ask someone to get me food. And I was just at a point where I couldn't ask anymore. And so that was my breaking point, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to do something, like something has to change. And everyone has, I think, a tipping point on when something changes and things start shifting in a positive way. And I think I really had to have that moment for me to realize I can either choose to sit here and feel sorry for myself, or I can choose to feel how I really want to feel, and I can choose to find a way to make myself feel better. And so the things that helped me feel better, which is what I want to share with you, this is not supposed to be a depressing story. This is something that is inspiring for myself, because through this whole process, I have learned that there is literally no excuse to not feel good. It doesn't matter what is going on in your life. You can choose to be a victim of your circumstances, or you can choose to be uplifted and inspired to feel how you want to feel and to do better than you did yesterday, or to feel better than you did yesterday, and know that everything is working out in some way, shape or form, and that where you are right now is because you need to learn something about where you are right now. And you're going to keep returning to that space until you learn what it is you need to learn. And so I think that's why we are here right now, because we've had so much growth happen through this period that I think it's been really necessary for us to be here. And I'm really grateful for these opportunities that we've had, even though they've been tough, because it's taught us so much about ourselves, about each other. It's brought us closer together as a family. It's also really been an eye-opener on how materialistic people can be and what our true values really are and what we really want to do as a family and the things that we really enjoy, and how much fun we can have without furniture, without, like, we can live so simple and we can still have so much fun and we can still love life. And one of the things that has also kept me going is that I haven't had a gym for about a year. And if I could choose, I would have had a gym, but I didn't. But you know what? I really took that opportunity as a learning curve of, I want to prove, not just to myself, but to my viewers, that you can still achieve your physical aesthetic goals without a gym, okay? You don't have to have a gym membership. You don't even have to have bands. All you need is a floor in your body, or just space in your body, and you can move. So it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter what is going on in general. You still have the opportunity to take care of your body. You can still move. You can still think positively. You can still choose to be an optimist. An optimist. Is that the right word? You can just still choose that. It's your choice. And that's something that I've really chosen, even stronger than I ever have before, to look after my mind. And it's been a time in my life where the power of optimism has really shone through to provide different experiences in different ways. And it's really starting to unfold now, where we're living right now, through all of the positive thoughts and the way and the outlook that I've had. It's really starting to showcase into reality. And so that's why I wanted to share this with you today, because yes, I could go on and sob about all the things that have happened, but I'm not choosing to do that. And I don't want sympathy for anything that we've been through. I think it's been a real blessing and a great learning experience. And although I don't wish anybody else to experience that, I think that it was a really important growth and journey for us to experience, and the inspiration that I hope I can pass through to you. So you always have opportunity to take care of yourself, whether that's your body, your mind. You can still nourish your body with the most simplest things. Okay, yes, you're probably going to lose weight if you don't have the funds to give yourself lots of food, but that's okay, because you can still focus on other things. Everything is always working out, see? So I chose to still get up and go for runs. I still chose to do workouts on a bench or with my bands. I've been filming workouts in amazing places because we've been camping in so many cool places. So I've been able to bring my work and to showcase all of these fun places that you can work out and to take care of yourself absolutely anywhere without equipment. Okay, so I'm choosing to see the absolute positive and learning curve in everything, and I hope that this can inspire you to also do the same. And that's the other thing as well. One thing that I noticed through being in this space was I became so innovative with different ways to bring in funds, okay, because in person wasn't really an option for me because of where we were living. And so when I did have in-person people, it was great, but it wasn't enough to sustain for our family, okay? So what I was doing was finding so many different ways to bring in the funds. I was so innovative. My creation mode just stepped up a whole nother level. And it was really cool because there was a feeling that I had that was, I just have to make it work. And it's something that I hadn't really had before. I hadn't really had that super survival drive. And I think that that has been really necessary in me progressing forwards now. And so it's cool to have the awareness and understanding of the feeling that I really needed to have for me to be assertive even more than I was, and to find new ways to make it work. And so where we are right now, we have officially moved to Bordeaux. So I went on a hiking trip in the Swiss Alps. And as soon as we came back, we came to Bordeaux. We're staying at my brother-in-law's, which has been great. And so he's away for the World Cup. And so we are currently staying here until we completely get ourselves sorted and we can find a place to live and enough work to sustain for us all. Chris has got a contract, which is amazing. So he's starting a work contract, doing something else, but he's getting a work contract starting from October. So this is amazing news. And even more amazing news is that I have found my people here. So I have so many in-person people who I can work with here. Everybody wants a piece of Chloe, which is amazing because I am so excited to work with everybody and to be able to just see what I can offer to everybody here. And I'm really excited for what we can create with the amazing energy of this town. And I'm just open for all of the awesome opportunities that life is going to present for us. So thank you so much for listening. All right, that's enough from me. My curry's probably burning, so I better go. But thanks for listening. And if you have any questions or if you'd like to share anything, I would love to hear it. Bye.